Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this February 27th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon, and we're on the EOA network. And here in a bit, we're going to have guest Nick Vora and Willy Crippen with us here from Union County, talking about emergency management and then also about fire protection. So, yeah, hey, how are you, man?
It's second Monday. I'm hammered. I'm stretched.
Are you?
Yeah.
Feel dragging?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm here.
But you had a busy weekend, man.
I had a fun weekend though too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of stressful. You know, it started off stressful and then it got really good, and then it ended a little stressful. But I got to go watch our Tigers, the girls, win a state championship, and the boys get third.
Yeah.
And I got to watch my son's team win a state championship, and he ended up fourth. And then battle through an injury and a flat tire, and
Yeah.
it was fun though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least you didn't have crappy weather, right?
That is very true. I was stressing that because when I put the GPS to get out of Portland,
Yeah.
it said severe winter weather advisory may affect your travel, and I'm like, oh no. And so I look, and it was like I was getting there a couple hours before the weather came to the pass. But did you see yesterday? There was like I think it was like right around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. There was a bunch of cars spun out, like on both sides of 84.
Oh, I
Going both ways.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't notice. It's always, I was surprised when I got up this morning and it's like, oh, we got snow.
No, yesterday when I left Portland, it rained really hard all the way from Portland to Hood River, which that's kind of stressful even when it's, light out, just because, you're just trying to navigate and there's a lot of traffic and truckers are spitting up water all over you. But outside of that, it rained a little bit up top, and that's it. It was nice. It was a nice drive.
Well, hey, you got a lot of sports to talk about. You want
Let's do it.
Yeah.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Big Red Rocking Chair on Elm off Adams in LeGrand. They want to make you comfortable in your own home. Let's talk about wrestling first. The girls, they won their first ever state. What in the Benny? There we go. This is the girls team. They won their first ever state championship, and man, it was awesome to see this girls team battle through this. It's really crazy. I don't know if you guys understand. It's in the Coliseum, the Memorial Coliseum in Portland, and they put out 12 mats, okay? And you're basically trying to navigate these 12 mats. When you're part of the media, you're down on the floor. And so I'm watching my phone, which has Track Wrestling on it, seeing what mat each LeGrand kid is on and trying to run around to get pictures and interviews. But it was awesome. We had our very first girl state champion, Lindy Isaacson, won a state championship for the Tigers, and that was absolutely awesome. The other places for the girls, Malia Azure got second, Paige Allen got third, and Maddie Armstrong got third as well. So a state championship for the girls and 4 placers. Pretty cool. The boys' reign of state championships is over. They got third. And we kind of knew it going in. We only brought 12 boys to the state championships. We did have 3 state champions, though. We had Kai Carson winning his third. We had Tommy Belding winning his first state championship, and Ridge Kerr rounded that out with his first state championship as well. Bregan Anderson got second. Mason Wolcott got third. Preston Westonsko got third. Dex Dunlop got first. I'm getting distracted because there's all these pictures rolling on the screen. Benny, stop the pictures. Okay, thank you. Dex Dunlop got fourth. Kenai Huff got second. I got interviews with all of the champions except for Ridge Kerr. I was running around down there trying to find people after their matches. It gets kind of hectic, but here, take a look at these. LeGrand's first female state champion ever, Lindy Isaacson. Talk about it.
Well, I guess it's been a goal for this whole year, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, kind of walk me through that championship match.
So just preparing for it before, just getting ready, and then going out there. And we just hand fought for a while, and then I put her in a front headlock, and then snapped her down, and then put her in a standing cradle, and then put her on her back.
Yeah, absolutely. What does wrestling mean to you?
It's meant to me, it's been something in my life, my whole life, because my brother and grandpa wrestle, and then also all 4 of my brothers have wrestled. And so ever since I was little, I wanted to wrestle, but my dad didn't want me to when there was not an only girls team, because he didn't want me to wrestle guys or anything. So, but my freshman year, they got an all girls team, so I was really excited to join, and I just loved it immediately.
Right. 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A, state champion. What do you do now?
Go for the next one, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah, I want to do a little bit of spring wrestling, and then after that, just after soccer, I go straight back into wrestling and going for another, hopefully.
Well, man,
goal.
awesome.
So-
First one ever. You're the only one that ever gets to say that.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
2024 OSAA 4A 144-pound champ, Tommy Belding. First one.
Yeah.
What's it feel like?
It feels really good. Like being a champion.
Yeah. You won research this year, which was a good indication of what was going to happen the rest of the season. We get here. What kind of mindset were you in when you got here?
I just want to stay focused, make sure to not look past anybody, and do what I do.
Yeah. That last match, you're heading out. There's a lot of people here, right? Mm-hmm. Any pressure?
Yeah, there's some pressure, but just gotta get in your zone.
How do you kind of calm the nerves?
I like listen to music
Yeah.
on the matches, and then I have a routine I do for every match.
Every time. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like religious almost.
Almost, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So this state championship, you're a sophomore, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got a chance to be right there with the Carson boys.
Mm-hmm.
3. I don't want to look too far into the future, but for you, this year is kind of like your proving year, right? Like last year, what'd you get? Second last year?
I got third last year.
Third last year, and it was like redemption, huh?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That feeling. Talk
Yeah.
about that feeling.
Well, I definitely did not want to get third, and I wanted to win it. So.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, a heck of a tournament, and great job. Another LeGrand champion, Tommy Belding, 144 pounds.
Sweet, thank you.
2024 OSAA 4A, 132-pound, 3-time champ,
Yep.
Kai Carson. Let's talk about this first, because I think it's a little bit, I mean, it's all important, but the award that you got before, what was it? Tell me about it a little bit.
It's a Tyrone S. Woods Memorial Scholarship. It's a pretty decent-sized scholarship for wrestlers in Oregon. It's just a scholarship that Tyrone S. Woods' family puts together, and he served the country and died a little while ago, and
Yep.
it's an honor to get the award, and super grateful.
Somebody else in your family won that too.
Yep, my brother did back in 2020.
2020.
2020, yeah.
Yep. Walk me through the championship match.
Came in with a good mindset and went out there to wrestle, and it was going out hot. There was a bunch of questionable takedowns in the corner of the mat. It was real fun, very, very fast paced. And then second round, I got the coin toss, chose to defer, and he went down and rode him out then, and had a couple stalling call. Well, I had one stalling call then, so I knew I was gonna have to be a bit more aggressive on top. Rode him out for the end of the round. Then I chose bottom. I knew I was gonna either get away or get around him. So got a reversal on top and a tough ride, and
It's all business from there.
Yep.
You're going to be a Mountie next year with your brother. What's the first thing you're going to eat?
Wings. I want wings.
You want
bad.
some wings?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
want
just-
some wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, wings.
Like tonight?
Oh yeah, tonight.
Yeah, you're finding some wings
Yeah,
tonight.
no, that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm
Awesome.
gonna eat.
So yeah, next year at EOU, you're just gonna hit the ground running.
Yep, that's the plan.
3-time
Yeah.
state champion, man. You matched your brother. We talked
Yep.
about it a couple of years ago, and just it's awesome, man. It really is. Really proud of you.
Thank you.
Interesting thing about Kai Carson there is in the semifinals, he had to wrestle his teammate, Mason Wolcott. They both qualified at 132 this year, and it was one of those kind of surreal moments, you know. If they're both on the same side of the bracket, they can't get first and second because they're the top 232-pound wrestlers in 4A. If they were on opposite sides of the bracket, they would have met in the finals. But because they were on the same side of the bracket, they ended up meeting in the semis, and Mason got third. And it was just one of those, you know, like surreal moments for LeGrand. And that was a great tournament for everybody involved. It was absolutely awesome. LHS girls basketball has a home playoff game March 2nd versus Marist Catholic right here at 5 p.m. The boys will have to go to #1 Cascade on March 1st and take on Cascade on the road. That game is at 5 p.m. as well. EOU women's hoops won both of their games this past weekend. It was kind of sad for me because I had all this other stuff going on. I didn't get to be there for senior night on Saturday, and this is the first group. This is the COVID group who's in their 5th year. I started here with EO Alive Sports their freshman year. So I've been with this group their whole college career, and I didn't get to be there for senior night. It was kind of sad. But EOU men's hoops split with Corbin and Bushnell, but they won the important one against Bushnell on Saturday, senior night. They qualified for the playoffs as well as the women, the CCC tournament. The men will play LCSC on the road tomorrow at 5 o'clock. The women, though, they have a home playoff game tonight, and they'll be right back going against Bushnell, who they just beat this weekend, right here at 5:30 at Quinn. EOU women's wrestling had their CCC tournament this weekend. It was a busy weekend in California. Irma Rotano and Liv Weber both qualified for the national tournament for the Mounties, so they'll wrestle in the national tournament in about a week. Men's wrestling left yesterday. Men's and women's not cross country, track and field, indoor track and field left today for nationals. I had Kenna Woodward and Tanner Nett in studio yesterday. That show will come out tonight. They're going to talk about, you know, the national meet. They're going to be there. They're going to, you know, both try to All-American. It's pretty cool. EOU baseball swept Corbin on Saturday, but then turned around and got swept on Sunday, so they split 2-2 over the weekend right here. The Mountie softball team took 3 of 4 from Whitworth over the weekend at Peggy Anderson Memorial Field. Senior pitcher Kaylee Hoskins had another, outstanding weekend in the circle for the Mounties. She threw 10 innings and struck out 22 while giving up 1 run. She's a returning All-American. You're going to see Pitcher of the Week in the CCC a lot of times this year. This is already number 2, and we're only in week 3 of the season, so it's going to be a very normal thing for her. Let's see here. I think that's about it for sports, really. It's springtime, you know. Like yesterday was the first day of practice for spring sports at high school. Wow! So it's time to roll.
Happening.
And sports report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Big red rocking chair on Elm, off Adams and LeGrand.
All right. Well, let's take a look outside. And there it is. A little bit of snow going on.
It's super dry snow.
Yeah.
It's like that dry stuff. It's not slippery or anything.
Yeah. It was. And then
it's snowing up on the mountain. You can see it.
Yeah.
You can see.
Let's take a look at the weather forecast. So 39 today, down to 32. It looks like it's going to be slightly warmer through the rest of the days.
Rain and snow, rain and snow, rain and snow,
Yep.
rain and snow. Oh, yippee.
Yep. All righty. Well, hey, this morning we have Nick Vora and Willy Crippen with us from Union County, and they will be with us here in just a minute.
Eastern Oregon is full of interesting people, with interesting minds and interesting things to say. Here at EO Live, we're committed to connecting you to these intriguing people with EO Talks. We let our special guests share their ideas and life experiences with deep, open, engaging, and inquisitive conversations. You'll also be informed in depth on some of the most recent and relevant events, issues, and more. EO Talks on EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku.
All right, we are back with Nick Vora and Willy Crippen. And Nick Vora is the emergency manager for Union County. And Willy is with us here today to talk about wildfire protection.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, and we'll jump into that in just a minute. But so Nick, catch us up on all things emergency related.
Well, I mean,
how are things going?
We need about 8 hours to go there, but and really, I mean, emergency management. A lot of times, people think of like response to and management of like big disasters,
Right.
But that's when there is a big disaster. During normal blue sky days, the way I best describe my job is facilitating the success of all the public safety agencies in the county. So along those lines, I do a lot of grant writing, and we've been very fortunate that Union County's received quite a few grants lately. So in the past 2 years, we've gotten about $2.4 million for various things. Right now, our radio system replacement is the biggest project. That's $2 million of that 2.4. So that's something that we've got in the works, and that's going to be a huge project for the next year.
And that's you're getting ready to do that, or you've been working?
We've started it. The equipment is starting to show up and be staged and configured, and so that's going to be something that we're working on this spring as soon as the snow melts. We were up at radio sites a few weeks ago, kind of measuring cable lengths and doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because that involves probably changing radios in the vehicles and on or on the hilltops.
So this project is just the infrastructure.
Okay.
So not in the vehicles. So everything from what the dispatchers at the 911 center use up to the links to the radio sites, and then all the equipment at the radio sites that allows them to talk to everybody else.
All right.
So
Awesome.
yeah, so that's a big project. Also, I've got some grants, some stuff for search and rescue to get them equipment, for water rescue, rope rescue, for side-by-side stuff to get that outfitted. SWAT team, night vision, and throw phones for crisis negotiators. Got masticator for Public Works Department to maintain roadways. Kind of getting to what we're going to be
back to that.
talking.
What's a masticator?
So basically, it's a big grinder
Okay.
that you can put on an excavator, and so to allow them to maintain the county right of way along roads.
Oh, okay.
And that the purpose of that is not just for looks, but from a wildfire standpoint, it's being able to use the road as a place to stop a wildfire.
And is it like a grinder on an arm?
So it sits on the end of the excavator boom.
Okay, got it.
And it's a spinning drum that with big teeth on it that just eats
So
up.
brush, weeds,
Trees.
everything. Tree just like obliterates it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So so we've got a pretty wide variety of stuff in that, and also got a lot of training and exercises going on.
This sounds like, I mean, I'm a gear guy. I'm a tech guy, as you know, and it's like, this sounds like a lot of fun from time to time for you.
It's a ton of fun. I love it. I love my job.
Because you get night vision. Yeah, I mean, just some of the stuff that you just kind of rattled through is like, oh, that'd be cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah. But all of it has a practical person. Like, let's zoom in on the throw phone, okay, for instance. So then in some kind of a situation where you're needed to communicate with someone who has barricaded themselves or something, the very first thing is being able to talk to them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so this is, when you say a throw phone, it's like something that you can throw at them and go, hey, talk to us on the phone that we just...
So it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, okay.
It is a little bit more elaborate than just a basic phone, but
Right,
essentially it's something that you can literally toss through a window.
Yeah.
And then it has cameras and mics on it, so that you can, maybe if they don't pick up the phone, you can
still talk to them.
passively gather information
Right.
about what's going on
Yeah.
in there. Or if someone picks up the phone, you can have a direct conversation with them. And that's where the people who are on the crisis negotiations side of our local law enforcement agencies then would be the person on our side of the phone.
So I mean, you manage or you help with a lot of different things. I mean, your role for Union County is the emergency manager, but you're also super involved in search and rescue. And then, I mean, maybe just talk briefly about, I know you're involved with urban or rural fire, you know.
I'm a search and rescue coordinator with the Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
And then we're also a reserve deputy with the Sheriff's Office, and then I'm a captain with the Rural Fire District, and then also work as a casual with the City of LeGrand Fire Department.
Okay. And all of those things have technology that help them in some manner or another. And that kind of seems to be technology or equipment, that kind of seems to be one of your specialties. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
So
no, but I mean.
Yeah, it's totally, and it's something that now that's a huge improvement. There's the basic from like a fire standpoint. There's the axes and haligans and hoses, but then also there's being able to effectively communicate and have maps and things like how. And then as technologies evolve, how can we make sure that people who are managing a fire are able to have access to maybe building floor plans electronically that they can share and make notes on and things. It's definitely a lot of tools out there, and it takes time to determine what's most beneficial, and then once we determine what's most beneficial, money to acquire it, and a lot of that comes in the form of grants.
But they're all tools that are related to other people doing their job. I mean, so if it's law enforcement and a throw phone, or search and rescue and a piece of equipment to get, you know, whatever it might be, or firefighters and the stuff that they need to do their job effectively. I mean, do I get that right? I
Yeah,
mean, it's all
100%.
It's all related to supporting the people that are actually putting their lives at risk, or in some manner or another. I mean, kind of your specialty is making sure that they have what it is that they need to do that the best way possible.
Helping the leaders of all of our local agencies be as best equipped to help their people.
Yeah.
Is the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's super critical. Well, what else have you been, is there anything currently that you want to bring us up on?
So, one of the things that we got Willy here for is talking about our Community Wildfire Protection Plan.
Okay.
Or you'll probably hear Willy and I throw out the term CWPP. Pardon our use of acronyms. So a CWPP is Community Wildfire Protection Plan, and it's a national template of a plan for local jurisdictions to use, and to prepare comprehensively for before, during, and after wildfires. And tell me, why is that important? Why does it matter to me? So, wildfire is inherently a part of Union County, and I'll pass off to Willy here to explain some of this. And Willy, I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit to Brent and Dodsey here. Willy has a very extensive background in wildfire. So when we were looking at, received a grant from the Oregon State Fire Marshal's office to update our current plan, which is very much in need of a revision. And I really couldn't think of a better person to do it than Willy. So using that grant, we're able to hire him as a county employee to work on this for us.
Cool.
No, thanks, Nick. No, I'm work a lot. I'm a coordinator for our cohesive wildfire strategy, and the CWS. We're looking at a lot of what Nick does, response, how we enhance response. We look at landscapes, fuels treatments, what we can do with the fuels, and then what we can do to help our community adapt, so fire adapted communities. And that's working down at the homeowner level, next to the houses. So there's kind of three buckets or three tiers of this cohesive wildfire strategy. And that's what our CWPP, our Community Wildfire Protection Plan, does, is we look at ways to enhance that. We look at ways to bring that forward. We started back in 2005, actually 2003, with the first planning efforts here in Union County, and went through that process, did an upgrade in 2016, and now we're working on an upgrade for 2024.
So let me back out just a little bit. So
Sure.
the reason this is important is we've been fortunate enough to not have fires that have threatened our direct communities. but we're not immune by any means whatsoever. And so then the point is for individuals, the city or communities, to decrease the fire load that is immediately around those communities, and then down to the owner level to decrease the fuel load that is around their structures. Is that kind of
No, that's exactly what we're looking at. We live in a beautiful place, but we live in what we refer to as a fire environment. Wildfire is part of living here, and it happens. It's happened a lot locally, and it's going to happen. So with the CWPP, the protection plan, we're looking at how we can live with that fire, how we can respond to it, how we can prevent it, how we can prevent it, and what to do when we do have a fire going on. I've got a few pictures of some of the fires
lead us through some
we've
stuff,
had in the area. Maybe I got some pictures of some of the fires we had in the area. But
did it go to sleep?
It went to sleep on us.
Here, hand it to me and I'll,
Okay.
Yeah.
It was taking a little nap. But what we have, meanwhile, we have had a lot of wildfires near LeGrand and within Union County. We did have, it's been a while, 78, we did have the Rooster Peak fire, which actually came right up onto the edge of Union County. That area now in the last 30 years has grown up quite a bit. There's been a lot more homes built up in that area, and I'll talk a little bit more about that area where we had the Rooster Peak fire, the Morgan Lake area here in a minute. But just got a few examples of fires that we've had here recently. This was a combine fire a couple of summers ago, and this made a pretty good push. This was just out off of Hunter Road, made a pretty good push towards the north side of town there off of and a credible response to this fire, definitely an interagency response that we all worked together real well between the rural and city fire department. We had ODF forces out there. We had a lot of folks respond to this combine fire, and it had a great deal of potential on that day. A lot of wind behind it. You can kind of see there where that started at.
So is that the combine?
Yep,
the ashes of the combine left behind there? Yeah.
That's what's left of the combine right there. So, pretty fortunate because that was a very windy day.
That fire doesn't even look like it left the field that it started in.
No, it actually burned out of the stubble into another field, and by that time fire behavior had come down enough that forces were able to get out there and get in front of it. But from town, there was a pretty good cloud of smoke coming towards town. It was pretty exciting there for a few minutes. But and I'll repeat it, but we've got a great bunch of interagency response here between the different departments and the different agencies. And I'm sure Nick can agree with that, between ODF and the Forest Service and all the different rural fire departments. And this was just an example of that. Had a fire. This one's off the 3120 road.
So that's the road up to Mount Emily from Fox Hill.
Yeah. So this is the Fox Hill Mount Emily area. An aerial view of this fire. So this happened late at night, and this just shows the potential that we have for large fires close to town. Very, very good initial attack on this. The fuels you can see here are pretty thick. There's a lot of brush. There's a lot of close trees that are close together, and you can see where some of the trees are starting to torch out in this. But there is a lot of potential for these fires that start outside of town to work towards town. And again, a real good initial attack that was done.
Was that a lightning strike fire?
This was actually a human-caused fire.
Negligence?
Yeah. This was, we believe it was a woodcutter, and we actually have cameras that can see this area, and we saw some headlights there the night, a couple hours before we started seeing flames there. So human-caused, but we do get a lot of lightning. I would say, on an average, 80 to 90% of the fires that we get here in Union County and Northeast Oregon are lightning fires, which is a lot different than other parts of the world.
Yeah, in most places, the majority of their wildfires are human-caused, but in Union County, and I must say most places is in the western United States,
yeah.
but in Union County we have we do a great job with our public education in schools, and we don't have a lot of people necessarily out causing fires. We have a lot of lightning though.
Yeah.
That has a lot to do with where we live, and the people that in this county enjoy the outdoors, so they respect it.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly.
Yeah. No, right on. Yeah, people are very aware, very conscientious, and compared to other places that I've been. But there's nothing we can do about the weather or about the lightning. We have some real good detection systems in place, and during the summer, that's what we're trying to do: is get out and find these fires, get on them quick. That's one thing I do during the summer is I do recon, aerial recon. I've taken some of these pictures. I took this picture here. So we want to find them fast, get them small, but they're going to be there. So that's why we need to have the response and to have the planning. And as I'll go into the home hardening when these fires do occur.
So aerial recon meaning smoke.
Meaning airplanes.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. But I mean, you're looking for smoke, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Flying around looking for smoke. My goal is to find them as small as we can.
Of course, yeah.
And then we also have an infrared system that we use at night. So we have a plane equipped with infrared. We fly it. The state has a plane equipped with infrared. We can fly that at night, and we can bring that over to Northeast Oregon if we've had a big lightning storm here.
Ah.
And the observers have night vision, and then we have a big infrared camera in the back, and it's a pretty effective tool too.
Huh. Very cool.
But it's fun, and it's a tough job, but someone's got to do it, right? So if someone's going to do it,
How high does that plane fly?
We generally fly about 10,000 feet, maybe
Above the ground, or
altitude, maybe 4,000 or 5,000
okay.
feet above the ground.
okay? So then, if you've had a lightning strikes in the area, then you're able to kind of scan a fairly good amount of space, right? Does it fly a grid over it, or do you just kind of
just a pattern?
You just kind of look, yeah.
So we have lightning maps.
Okay.
So we have.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We have so
you
we'll
know
set
where
our-
it struck.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know where it struck. So we'll fly patterns right over the lightning storm. So we know where the lightning's been. So we adjust our patterns accordingly.
Okay.
And on a good 8-hour day, we can cover all of Northeast Oregon.
Wow.
Or at night we can cover all of Northeast Oregon. If we got a lot of fires, it takes a couple, 3 planes to do that. But
Interesting.
but,
All right, I had no idea.
yeah, that's another fun aspect of my
Yeah.
job. Let's see, I got a couple more fires to show you. This was Jones Butte fire last summer, just outside of Elgin. This one, again, a great interagency response, had a lot of potential. Made a little noise there that first couple of shifts. Another shot. Here's the rules going at a little bit of a hose lay of some grass fire moving towards the edge. So this was last summer. This one's a little bit older, but I'm sure a lot of folks can remember this one on the side of Harris over here.
Yep.
And I can't remember the exact year, but again, fires close to residents, close to structures.
Where's this picture taken from?
This looks like it's going to be taken from
Hunter?
Hunter.
Yeah, it
I
does,
see
doesn't
some
it?
trees in the foreground, but yeah, you're looking across the valley, probably from Hunter Road or just a little bit higher than that. Phillips Creek fire. This was again just north of Elgin. You can see Mount Emily there in the background. We had a large fire team on this one, and again, a lot of potential for these fires to move into the wildland interface, which we haven't talked about yet, but we will. I think at that point, that was the. Do you have questions about fires or fire history or?
No, I think we're good. Yeah, just keep rolling there. I know you have some good amount of slides, so we should just yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I talked a little bit about the history,
Okay.
where we're at with the plan and where we're at with the revision now. Between 2016 and the present, a lot has happened.
Okay.
In these plans, we look for what we call mitigation action items. We look for opportunities to do fuels treatment, opportunities to get equipment, to train firefighters, to make us more prepared for when the wildfires do hit. It helps us to get grants to identify where to spend that money and where we can go forward. And since 2016, we have literally spent millions of dollars in Union County on fuels treatments, equipment, and we've treated thousands of acres in that time period. We've got a lot of additional federal funding that's come into the county to the federal agencies, to the Forest Service. We've got a lot of money that's come through the federal agencies, NRCS, to private landowners through Oregon Department of Forestry. So a lot of good work has been done.
So, and when you say treated acreage, what do you mean by treating?
Okay, by treated acreage, I generally mean fuels treatment or removal, reduction of trees, of brush, thinning,
Okay.
Taking those fuel loads out and making it more fire resistant. We can still have fire go through there, but it will be a lot lower intensity of fire.
So, help me understand how what lands locally does the county have control over treating? You know what I mean? So, the private owners are responsible for their lands. When you assess what needs to be treated, what lands are those?
Oh,
So, yes, really, it's from, I guess, the assessment versus what we have control over are a little bit two different things.
Okay.
And we look at, as far as in the process of this planning, we work with the state agencies, the federal agencies, and we provide opportunities, we'll be providing opportunities for private landowners to engage with the process as well and let us know what they need and want. So we're assessing the entire county, all lands in the county.
All right.
And then the federal agencies can use this plan as a tool to get funding for the lands under their control.
Okay.
State can assist private landowners and industrial forest landowners with seeking funding or using internal funds to apply treatment to their lands. And then the county has some land as well, so the Mount Emily Recreation Area as well as our county parks.
Okay.
That the county very actively manages with a concern for fuels mitigation.
But the assessment is the responsibility of the county.
Yes, through this process,
Okay,
and
right.
we bring in players from all of the involved agencies into that to give us feedback.
Okay.
To be able to do it.
Okay, and so then let's move on to go back to what it was that you were saying. Then how are you zooming in on particular areas that need help, or maybe how have you guys been reducing the load on those areas? Yeah.
So there's a lot, as far as some of the mitigation work that Willy was mentioning, as far as pre-commercial thinning. There was a photo on the screen earlier of some logging equipment.
Yeah.
So there's commercial logging where you're taking out the big trees, but then also since we actively suppress fires because we want to have that be something that we manage and control, trees are going to grow up that otherwise would have been over time removed by natural fire. So that's where we go in and can do fields treatments, whether it's hand cutting with a chainsaw or masticating. And I think Willie might have a few pictures later on of that. And
No, perfect segue into where I was going. But to answer your question, that's what we're doing with this CWPP process.
Okay.
Is we're bringing in agency leaders, we're bringing in fire department chiefs, we're bringing in rural fire protection districts, we're bringing in the Forest Service, we're bringing in BLM, we're bringing in ODF, the county. So we're bringing in a group of people, a core group of people, and that's what we're doing with this process. Is we're sitting down with maps, we're sitting down with fire history, we're looking at fire potential, fire behavior potential, treatments that's already been put on the land, and a lot of what we do are just big crayon exercises where we go out to the communities,
Right.
and that's going to be part of what we're doing. We go out with the local fire chiefs and we go, okay, here's what's been done. Here's a circle around your community. What are some? We've picked a lot of the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. We've done a lot of the easy stuff. Where are opportunities for us to go forward? We've done millions of dollars, thousands of acres already. We have a lot of opportunities. So that's really the gist of what a CWPP is. Where do we go next? What can we do? And that's when you'll hear me talk about mitigation or mitigation action items. That's what we're looking for.
Good. All right. Well, take us on.
So you mentioned counting land. One of the examples I've got is some work that we've done up in Mira that was identified in the last CWPP, and we'll look at some other activities that have gone on as well. So if we can pull the slides back up. This is up at Mira, fuels treatment along the top. This was winter logged. Logging in the winter helps with soil compaction. It's just, you don't have any fire hazard. The ground's frozen, so you don't damage the ground. So winter logging's just a great way to do things in this area. And here you see a log processor that these buck cut and limb the logs. Little skidder action, always fun to show some equipment. Again, just taking those logs, getting them piled up and ready to harvest up. And this was the activity. This is what was going on up at Mira. This is a picture aerial view of the finished product. This is on what they call the mainline trail up on top of Mira. It's 400 or 500 yards wide. It's approximately 6 or 8 miles long, and it ties in from the very edge, from the Fox Hill trailhead up to Forest Service treatments on the Forest Service side of the land. So you don't really see it from the ground, but pretty visual here of the fuel break.
And the purpose of that is to create a fire line, essentially, a built-in fire line?
Yeah, exactly. The purpose is to give us a defensible space, a defensible place, a place where if we do get a wildfire on one side or the other,
this is where we can fight the battle.
This is where we can fight the battle.
Okay.
Before treatment, it's thick, it's hard to get through. There's a lot of brush. There's opportunities for fire to jump the road. This is a place where these fuel breaks are where we can get out in front and clear off a little bit. Maybe start some backlighting, getting a little fire ahead of it, and it's a safe place. That's another big aspect of how we want to do our responses. We're concerned for the safety of the firefighter and safety of the public is a big part of that.
And you're saying this isn't very noticeable from the ground?
No.
Okay.
No, I've spent a lot of time on Mira. I love it up there.
Right.
But it looks, and I'll show a couple of pictures too. But it from the ground it looks good. It looks like it's a little brown the first summer, but it's really greened up.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll just keep going on some of these pictures. This is looking towards the Grand Ronde Valley. Again, about a 6-mile strip, 400 yards wide, that ties in two good fuels treatments. And that fire that we had, I showed you with the dozer, would be about in the center of this picture here. So if that fire had gotten up and gotten going, it would have burned into this fuel break and given them an opportunity to do some defensive work there in front of it. This is out in the winter, just a picture inside that fuel break. I just thought this was a pretty picture. This is one of my favorite pictures. I was up there playing around, but you can see it's opened up, but it's not like a big old dozer strip.
Yeah.
It's open. It's defensible, but it looks good. This is a beautiful shot. So last summer, we did have a fire inside the fuel strip along the main line road. We had an ATV that caught on fire, and it happened on a very windy day. It happened on a day with a lot of potential. It happened right inside the fire line, and I'll zoom in there a little
there-
bit. I
there's
think
the dead ATV.
There's the dead ATV. There's what's left of it. You can see a little fire line. You can see a little you can see some hose there around it, and there's just another shot of that fire. So pretty much a non-event. You know, a little. I'll call this a 1/10 of an acre fire. And before treatment, this was solid fuels through here, and this would have had a huge amount of potential.
Okay.
So
That would have, that would have been scary.
yeah. So this is exactly why we're doing this kind of work.
Yeah, so this is just one example of many other types of things that would be identified as in our planning process. We have the different mitigation items, and so fuels treatments would be one of them, and then homeowner education, I believe, and Willy can talk a little bit if we have time left about Firewise communities as well, and kind of what that means. And
But I would
the county.
imagine that when you have a space like Mira, which is more publicly used than other areas, then that becomes a priority, right? I mean, am I kind of gauging that right? I mean, because even though we're pretty good about not having human-caused fires here in this area like some other areas, you still, whenever you have human activity into an area, the risk is going up. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, 100%. And also just a place like Mira that's extremely popular for recreation. There's a lot of people in it that if a fire started could be very catastrophic, as well as it's surrounded by what we call wildland urban interface, where there's homes and private land immediately adjacent to it that would definitely be impacted if there were a fire that occurred there, and mitigation actions and forest management hadn't occurred prior to that. It could definitely impact the fire intensity.
So then part of it is like, and we want to protect that area. I mean, since it's county owned, then, I mean, and it's solidly, it's used, it's a very popular, I mean, there are people that move to La Grande and Grand Ronde Valley just because of Mira.
Oh, it's an incredible resource that we have.
Yeah, so protecting that is important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then it's just the location. It's very strategically placed as far as a defensible location to go and have an area to a toehold in the sand there. So that's definitely been a success and a big win on what we've been able to do up there, and enhance the recreation opportunities while we're at it. So I've been pretty excited about that.
All right, well, take us on.
I don't understand why anybody would be against doing this. And there is. I mean, you hear people talk about it all the time, like why are we up there? Like, why would you be against preserving that? I don't understand. Like, I just don't.
Well, what would you say? I mean, I'm sure you guys hear arguments on both sides. What would their arguments be for not doing that?
Well, along the top, I think that's pretty. I'm trying to think of the right word, but the work along the top is pretty easy to do and doesn't impact a whole lot of people. I know down below in the Red Apple area, you've got the time that it's being done, what it looks like immediately after harvest, and the impact it has, like the last 2 or 3 logging seasons. The time that folks are in there, it's for safety purposes. We lose some access to that area. And I use Mira a lot, so I understand. I can't go out to Mira and go hiking today because they're doing logging in there. So I know that's been part of it.
But I think this could be a terrible analogy, but I'm not the most skilled in that department. But the way I look at something like this is like going to the dentist to work on your teeth. Nobody enjoys going to the dentist, but everybody wants to have good teeth. And you can't have good teeth unless you you have to go through some inconvenience in order to have what you want long term. Yeah, is the way I would look at that. And also, really big picture. There's some just for efficiencies of scale with some treatments. We use different methods in different places. So it's not, definitely we don't apply a one-size-fits-all approach to everywhere. So, because in some places we only need to remove small trees to get the fuel to what is reasonable and manageable, and other places requires more. And just, it's very variable, but there's definitely inconvenience associated with it during the process. But I think long term, in my experience, always been well worth the wait.
Well, and the aerial view really helps, because unless you really understand, oh, this is what, I mean, if you were just someone who visited Mira, you know, on a semi-regular basis, and you go up and like, man, why in the world did they do this? I mean, they're just not, it's hard to understand. But unless you understand it, I mean, this is, and I'm kind of discovering this as I go along. I mean, that it makes a lot of sense, particularly once you see it from
not to stir the pot, but once you see it, it's very obvious that it's necessary.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's like it becomes simple in my mind.
Yeah.
No, and you hit on something there that's a big part of why we're doing this planning process as a county-wide and even as a Northeast Oregon-wide process. Is we're looking at landscapes. You know, we live on a landscape, and what can we do at a landscape level? The Mira Fields treatment is a good example of that, and that treatment continues up over towards the top of Mount Emily along the Fox Hill Road. That treatment continues down towards Perry, and we've got some new grants that are going to take treatments on out around the Horn out toward Ruckle Road, that area there. So not just this little piece of the world, but we're looking at landscape level, 30,000 view, or in my case 10,000 view, 10,000 view look at it.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we're getting close on time, so take us forward or to wherever you want us to go.
So want to bring the pictures back up. I'll take another look at what we're doing. And we talked about Firewise a little bit ago, and this is looking at what we can do around homes on private properties. This is up at Morgan Lake. We have a Morgan Lake Firewise community, which is a community that's gotten together to look at ways to make their homes, their communities more fire resistant. This was a planning meeting we had up there last summer, where we go to with this group of people to individual homes. We talk about what we can do on their property, on neighbors' property. Again, this is all up in Morgan Lake area. Visit individual homes, assess what they can do to make their homes safer. For the example in this one, it's cleared out below it. It's clear around the decks, clear of fuels. This is Chris Ball with Oregon State Fire Marshal that's given this homeowner some tips on what she can do with her home. Again, another shot of us meeting with homeowners, and this is a kind of a before picture. This one's up at Wallowa Lake on South Shore, but you can see on this house there's needles on the roof, there's stuff right up against the house. This is where we can go in and do a lot of work to this house to make it more fire resistant. We call it fire hardening. So if a fire does come through, and we are going to have fires, this house will be more resistant to fire impacting it. Part of the planning process, we've had meetings. This is a simulation we had last summer where we've gotten all the fire agencies and utilities, and we went through a fire scenario in Union County, an opportunity for us to meet each other, work together, and kind of game these things out ahead of time. Just another shot of this was down at the Armory, another shot of that view. Again, some of the planning efforts that we do through the CWPP process. Now I got a couple pretty cool before and after pictures, and this again is up in the Morgan Lake area. Some different properties done through some grant work with assistance from the Department of Forestry. Before, looking down the road through some pretty heavy fuels. And this is looking in that same general area afterwards, after treatment. So you can kind of see the before and after. Again, here's a before picture some pretty heavy fuels. This is right next to a house. You can just barely see up here in the corner. You can just barely see where that house is at. So if a fire comes through here, there's a lot of potential. This is from the house looking after the fuels treatment. So it opened all that up down into that field. There's the happy little golden retriever in there helping us out. But again, making our communities more resistant if there is that wildfire that comes along. Just another before and after picture of this was part of the 2016 planning process, looking at what we can do up in Morgan Lake and some of the grant dollars that we've put. We have some real motivated, real hardworking stewardship foresters with the Oregon Department of Forestry here in Union County, here in Northeast Oregon, and they really work hard at getting this work done.
And also, we have some incredibly motivated landowners. The group at Morgan Lake is a shining example of some landowners that have banded together and, as a community, identified what their priorities are, and then have communicated that and continue to communicate with the county. And then we're able to try and help them find funds and resources to address the issues that they've identified in their community as well.
Awesome.
So, and they're awesome group up there to work with.
That's great.
And we're looking for other opportunities. We have a lot of other opportunities in the county that we can do this kind of work.
Good. All right. Anything else you want to before we quit?
I might have a couple other just real quick pictures. This is some more of the work that's being done. This is up at Wallowa Lake, but we do have this is doing some chipper work, and I think this really helps, especially in the smaller communities. And I think finally what I wanted to close with is the fuels treatment and doing the burning. Fire is part of our ecosystem. Fire is going to happen here. We want to bring it in and do it on our own our own terms.
Yeah.
So this is pile burning after a fuels treatment has happened, and we're doing our pile burning in the winter, and we're doing it when smoke's not an issue. We're doing it when the fire is easy to control. We're doing it when in these controlled conditions, and that's when we want it. It's going to burn. This is really when we want to be doing that burning. And I think that's what I kind of wanted to close it out. I got one last slide again, and this is the way to fight fire.
Snow.
This is fun. This is fun way. You're keeping yourself warm, and I love running around with a drip torch. It's just. But
I love drip torches too. We've talked about it on this show before. My aunt and uncle have one, and I mean, they live out on Hunter. And drip torches are fun.
Yeah, and I get to do it legally, but this
well, are they illegal?
No.
Well, so what? I wasn't doing it illegally.
That's an inside joke. That, part of fuels treatment is we get to go out and have a lot of fun putting fire on the ground. But I've got one last slide, and then I'll kick it back. This is in Grant County. This was the Canyon Mountain Fire in 2015. This was the Grant County Firewise community, and this home had received treatment around the house before this fire came through. This was a honker of a fire. This was a huge fire, and burned a lot of acres. This house was essentially in the middle of the fire, and this isn't a great picture of how well the house fared. The house did great. The outbuilding survived. There wasn't any damage. There was field treatments below the house, where it looked off into the valley. That's all green. Those trees all survived. So, our goal is the previous slide. We want to take care of these fuels in the winter under our own terms. But in case the fire does occur, we can do a lot to our homes to make them resistant to fire, and that's what we're trying to identify in our community wildfire protection plan. Is where are those opportunities to do that? So
that's awesome.
There's my slideshow. So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's so I love seeing the pictures. Took quite a bit for us to navigate doing all
Yeah.
that. Yeah, we were emailing each other last night at 9 o'clock or whatever it was, but still, it just gives us so much more meaning for being able to understand. So one question before we quit. So you hear, there's a lot of conversation just generally about that wildfires. When we do have a wildfire season, and particularly down in California, and because that area is so volatile, and there's always people saying, well, yeah, that's because we need to manage our forests and so on and so forth. Are other people not going to the effort we are in Union County? Is that what or are they just ignorant when they talk about forests that are not being managed? I'm just trying. That's a little bit bigger global question I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, that one. I'll take a couple quick stabs at it, but one thing we are being pretty proactive on a lot of private lands especially in Northeast Oregon. There are some federal lands that there are some limits on what can be done. I am retired Forest Service and did a lot of work on fields work on federal lands, but we have some federal lands where that we can't go to the extent of treatment that we can here, and it's policies, it's land management designations, but I know we also are putting a lot of work on the ground on the federal side of the line. Do you have something too, Nick?
Yeah, I would just say that there's so much variability and we're so far behind with stuff. I think that is probably the best way is we can have really active communities across all agencies implementing projects, and we're trying to catch up from 100 years of actively suppressing fires that allowed fuels to grow in places. And that's a lot of catch up, and it's simply logging or just doing one different activity in different places. In a lot of instances, you won't be able to treat everything. There's simply not enough people out there to catch up to where as far behind as we are. So that's where tools like prescribed fire come in and are extremely valuable at doing some large-scale mitigation in combination with things like logging and grazing, mastication, and a variety of other tools. So it takes all the tools in the toolbox, and we have a lot of catch-up to do in the western U.S.
And you said catch-up because we didn't let fires burn when we should have? I'm trying to explain that a little bit more for me when I understand. Yeah.
Fire is something just based on like our lightning ignitions in Union County that historically occurred with fires would start and they would burn, and that would keep fuels, a mosaic of fuels. So the forest wasn't just one stand of the same age with the same fuel loading. So fires were fairly variable. And we started putting out fires because when you're building houses in fixed places, it doesn't work very well to just let a fire do its thing. So we put out fires for a reason, and then we harvest timber, but we're only doing that in certain places. And we can only harvest so much too. So then there's what's going on in the other places. We still put the fires out there, so now things are growing, but nothing's taking that out. Or maybe around a homeowner's place, maybe they like their big trees. They don't want to do commercial logging, but there's still all the little trees growing up. So there's definitely not a one-size-fits-all solution by any means. It's a really complex situation takes a lot of tools to fix in different places.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you, guys. Yeah. This has been super helpful, and thank you for the work that you're doing in Union County. And we can't control everything, but we can try and make a difference here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all righty. Well, hey, you want to get us out of here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
On this day, February 27th, 1827, the very first Mardi Gras celebration ever.
1827?
Yep. There's not a lot that happened on this day. And on this day in 1974, People magazine begins sales. 1974. So what is that? 50 years? 50 years of People's Magazine. 2012, WikiLeaks begins disclosing 5 million emails from private intelligence company Stratfor. Wow, that's already been 12 years since WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
2019, the smallest baby ever born to later be successfully released from a hospital goes home after an original birth weight of 9.45 ounces.
That's crazy.
That's small. It's like half a pound, a little over half a pound.
I took pictures of a 22-week-old baby once.
They're tiny.
Oh, it's like, yeah, phenomenal.
Number one movie in America on this day in 2004, 20 years ago, 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. And then the quote of the day comes from Marcus Aurelius, and I tied it into wrestling because it was a wrestling weekend. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. One more time. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing.
Yeah. All right.
This is good.
Hey, thank you guys.
Thank you very much for having us on the show.
Thanks,
Really
thanks a bunch.
appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Nice to meet you, Willie.
Nice to meet you.
And we'll have you come back again, Nick. So
Looking forward to it.
yeah, thank you, Eastern Oregon.
See you on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday right here. Chief Gary Bell will be with us right here in the studio.